Today on Trucks, Project Copperhead continues. We've lowered this snake into the grass. Next, we'll slide on some cool brakes and Hot Wheels. Then we'll show you the truck Chevy never built, but should have, a 496 SS Silverado. That's all today on Trucks.
Welcome to the truck shop. Now you might as well just plan it down for the next 30 minutes or so, because if you've ever been interested in rebuilding or restoring an old classic truck, well, you're going to want to see this show. Now last week we started a buildup on a little 67 Chevy pickup. Started with nothing but a nice solid cab, a bare frame, and of course a clear title. And we're going to call this project Copperhead. Now the first thing that we did is totally rebuild the front suspension, springs, spindles, steering, and in the meantime we also picked up a 3.5-inch drop. Then we moved to the back, rebuilt the rear suspension, picked up a 4-inch drop, and also stuck in a huge Dana 60 rear axle so we can handle some serious horsepower. Now we're going to continue the build-up right where we left off. Now when you're rebuilding an old truck, you really need to put some serious consideration into what you're going to do about your gas tank. Now, the reason for this is these old trucks had the gas tank behind the seat in the passenger compartment. Not the most desirable situation. So, to make things a lot safer and to give us a little more leg room, we're going to relocate the tank from behind the seats to the rear frame rails. Now, the tank we're going to use is from Kent Performance, and it's this handmade aluminum piece. Got the mounting flanges already installed. All the bungs you're ever going to need for fuel injection or carburation, whatever, are already on there. We'll just plug the ones we don't use. Sending unit is already installed, and the filler neck is here on top, which means to get to this, we're going to have to go through the bed floor. All right, to mount this tank, first of all, clamp it into place, then just drill through the mounting flange, through the frame, and bolt it on. Now, before you bolt it on, make sure you take a little strip of rubber and put it between the tank and the frame so you got a little bit of cushion there. All right, since we're here at the back of the truck, now is a good time to start thinking about some sort of hitch so we could tow a trailer if we needed to. Well, we didn't have to think very hard because Early Classic Enterprises has got this super slick Class 4 hidden receiver hitch. Now, installation is really easy. It just bolts to existing holes in the frame. And the best part about it is it's a hidden hitch. Nothing looks worse on a nice, slick classic truck than a big hitch hanging down. Now, this one bolts up tight against the frame, and it's hidden behind the bumper or a roll pan. Now, the way you get to it, you have a flip-down license plate. That is cool. Okay, now we're going to talk about front brakes. I've got a couple of options here for you. First, I've got a kit from Early Classic Enterprises. Now, it includes everything you're going to need to completely upgrade your front brakes. It comes with these huge drilled rotors, new calipers and pads, brake hoses, dust shields, master cylinder, proportioning valve, that's really nice, all the lines, all the hardware, all the bearings to put this thing in and go. Now this kit goes for about $800, and that includes the spindles. That is a smoking deal. Now if you drive your truck every day, if you tow a trailer, if you go out to the drag strip once in a while, this is the kit that you want. Now let's say that you want something a little more fancy than that, show situation, or you're going to be running some road courses, or maybe you spend a lot of time on the other side of 100 miles an hour. Well, you're going to want to upgrade a little more than that. Early Classic Enterprises has this kit from Aerospace Components that features these really cool polished aluminum 4-piston calipers, drilled and slotted removable rotors, all the hardware and bearings, and check out this polished aluminum tapered hub. This will fit just about any custom wheel out there. Now, of course, since Copperhead's going to be very fast, this is the kit we're going to use. But I need to warn you, this kit's a lot more expensive than that one, and it doesn't just bolt on like that one does. But now, you've got two different choices. Two different price ranges and two completely different applications. Now, we're going to show you how to put this on. Now, the first thing we need to do is modify those spindles so we can mount that new caliper. Now, these ears that held the original caliper, well, those need to be cut off. And we've got us a template to show us where to make our cuts. Now, to mount the caliper, you got some good news and bad news. The good news is these original holes are in the perfect spot to mount a new caliper. The bad news is they're the wrong size, so they're going to have to be drilled out and retapped. When you're using a tap, make sure that you use plenty of cutting lube and go slow so you don't break the tap or thread it crooked. Once you're done with your grinding, and it looks like you've completely destroyed your spindles, check with your caliper to make sure that you've got enough clearance. And we got just a little more to go. Then you're ready to start putting things together. But we need to take a break first. But don't go too far, because we are going to be right back on this project.
After the break, we'll be putting the brakes on as Stacey gives Copperhead some major stopping power. And later, it's mind control for your truck as we show you a good upgrade for your onboard computer.
Welcome back to Trucks. We are coming down the home stretch of building a really cool chassis for Project Copperhead. Now, before the break, put on a cool trailer hitch and a custom gas tank. Now, these were both pretty much just bolt-on applications. Then we had to do some modifications to our new spindles to mount these really trick front disc brakes. Now that our modifications are done, well, it's time to put these guys on. So, here we go. Pack and install the bearings. Then tap in the inner seal. Then install the caliper mounting bracket to the spindle. Follow that with the freshly greased hub and rotor combination. Finally, bolt on your calipers, slide in your pads, and your brakes are on. Now look at these. These are awesome. Of course, those fancy brakes need to be plumbed. So we went back to early Classic Enterprises, got their complete brake and fuel line plumbing kit. Now, these aren't just a bunch of old lines that you have to bend and form. These are stainless steel, pre-formed lines that go right in the stock locations. Check this out. All the fittings and flares are already done. Now, using a kit like this can save you hours of cutting and flaring and fitting. Now, like I said, these lines are pre-bent to slide right into the stock locations. But don't be surprised if you have to do just a little bit of bending to make them just perfect. Once you have your lines in, well, that pretty much takes care of the chassis of Project Copperhead. Now, while you're checking it out, I've got some numbers I'm going to give you. Now, if you use the other early Classics brake kit, stock rear end, and the stock gas tank, well, you can build a chassis like this for around $1,800. That is a smoking deal. Now, of course, ours is a little more expensive with that rear axle and those front brakes, but that's the magic about these trucks. They're so popular, you can build them any way you want. You got 1,000 different choices. Unfortunately, the only choice we've got now is to take another break. So we'll see you right after this.
When Trucks returns, we'll be getting things rolling with a cool set of wheels and tires. Just can't get enough of trucks? Check us out online at truckstv.com.
Welcome back to Trucks and the buildup of our chassis for Project Copperhead. Now that we've got everything assembled, we come to the crowning touch. The part that really sets the personality to any vehicle, and that is the wheels and tires. Now for tires, we went to Toyo and got these Proxus STs because they're a very high performance street tire. They've got a really cool directional aggressive tread, and they've actually got a sidewall rating for trucks, so they're good and strong. Now the size we're going to use in the front is 255 60R17, and in the rear we're going to use these great big 285 60R17s. Now that is going to give us a really cool look. It's also really going to fill those fender wells out. Now for wheels, we had to have something cool. So we made a call to Colorado Custom and got a super trick set of these Lazier 5-spokes. Now notice they've got a real unique shape in the spoke and the hub, but take a good look at those spokes. There's little flutes cut right into them. That is really cool. Not only that, but it'll just sparkle like a diamond when the light hits it. Of course, everything is completely polished. Now the size that we're using on the front, 17 by 8. Size on the rear, 17 by 9.5. But that's not all. Oh, there's more. Come and check this out. Colorado Custom also makes custom steering wheels to match the regular wheels. Now, so we had to have a Lazier wheel. Now it matches the wheels in the polished aluminum and the spokes, but they also will put on custom leather to match whatever color your interior is going to be. Man, that is awesome. Now, you're probably wondering why I didn't stick 20s or 22s on this thing. There's no doubt that the big diameter wheels look really cool, but this is going to be a real high performance truck. It's going to be driven hard and fast. So I need a tire that's got some sidewall to it, and 17s give me a lot of choices. Not only that, oh, they look killer. Well, there you have it, the complete rolling chassis of Project Copperhead. Now hopefully this gives you some ideas and some options on how to build something like this for yourself. Now, unfortunately, I gotta tell you, there's only going to be one Copperhead, and I'm going to show you why next week. But I can give you a hint, so come on back here. You see this crate? This is the poison for Copperhead. Now, this is the biggest, baddest crate engine that Chevy, Ford, Dodge, anybody has ever put out. Oh, man. And you're going to have to wait till next week to see it, which means you better not miss next week's show. Oh, the suspense. When you're dealing with a late model truck, trying to get some extra horsepower out of it, well, that can be a little tough. Since everything's computer controlled, and if you mess around with it too much, you can really screw things up, not to mention your warranty. However, there is a way to tweak your computer and get the most performance out of your engine that you can. That is with a Hypertech Power Programmer 3. Now, the benefits of these go a lot deeper than just picking up a few horsepower. No, they do a lot more than that. And you guys have sent in a lot of emails wanting to know more about them. So, I'm going to dig into one a little bit for you. Now, to install the programmer is very simple. You just plug it into the diagnostic port and punch in a few buttons. Now, I've done some installs on these in the past, so let me talk you through one. First off, choose the type of fuel you're going to be using. Next, you can adjust your rev limiter. You can also adjust the speed limiter so your truck doesn't shut off at 90 miles an hour. Then factor in the size of your tires, factor in your rear axle ratio, finally the shift points of the tranny. One of the best things about the Power Programmer, though, is once you install your custom program, it stores your factory settings right here in the box. So if you ever want to return the truck to stock, well, you just plug it in, punch the buttons, and it changes everything back. And that is all there is to it. We'll be right back after this.
When we come back, it's a Camaro. No, wait, it's a Chevelle. No, it's a Silverado. And we've got the only one like it.
Welcome back to Trucks. Now, I know I've said over and over again on the show, if you want to build a really cool truck, something that nobody else has, but something everybody's going to take notice of, Well, you need to plan the direction of your buildup before you ever get started. Well, Terry DeLong took that idea one step further when he started to wonder, what would happen if you took a 70 El Camino, mixed it with a 70 Chevelle, threw in a little 69 Camaro, and put it on a modern truck platform. Well, what he ended up with was a 496 SS Silverado. The first thing that Terry did was start with the 2001 3/4 ton long bed HD pickup. Yeah, that's right. But all he really wanted was the cab. Then he bought a brand new half-ton short bed frame and bed and mated them together. Isn't that like illegal or something? Then this new body was shot in a classic 69 Camaro Grabber Orange, and a custom bumper and grille was constructed. A 496 cubes equals 8.1 liters, and that is exactly what is thumping under the hood. You want some of this? You want some of this? Now this thing kicks out 340 horses, then of course there's that little nitrous button. It makes things get really crazy. Now speaking of that hood, it features a fully functional cowl induction setup. It looks like it came off a 70 Chevelle, but this was custom made for this truck. Inside, the seats and door panels were reupholstered in the same style orange and black houndstooth material that you'd find on a 69 Camaro. And of course the dash and console, those were all painted and detailed to match. The wheel and tire combo is right on the money with 20s in the front and the rear. And those American racing wheels add just the right look and punch to this truck. The suspension is sitting on airbags. Now this allows this thing to get way down in the weeds when Terry is out cruising in style. In the bed, you'll find a real oak floor that adds a nice classic touch to the rear of the truck. You'll also have a custom tailgate and roll pan that not only continue the 69 Camaro theme, but it also reminds you of what just smoked by you and blew your doors off. Well, there you have it, a new body style truck with all kinds of vintage El Camino and Chevelle and Camaro all rolled into it. Now, the good news is, it's the only one like it, so Terry's happy. The bad news is, well, everybody's gonna want to try to buy it from him, provided he puts on some new tires.
And now truck gear, parts, tools, and equipment for pickups and sport utilities.
A couple of the best upgrades that you can do to your truck is number one, change the sound of it. Number two, add some power. Well, Flowmaster a few years ago figured out how to do both at the same time with their unique chambered mufflers. Well, now Flowmaster has figured out how to take that dynamite muffler and stick it in a much smaller package in this Delta Flow low-profile street muffler. Now it's got the same benefits as its big brother, but in a much smaller package, so you can put it in tight applications. Now you're probably thinking, that's great, man, where do I buy these at? Well, your local Meineke muffler shop is now carrying Flowmaster, so you can get one of the world's best mufflers, good installation, good price, all at the same place. Sounds like a good team to me. It wasn't too long ago that multi-port fuel injection units started to become available from the aftermarket, and this was really cool, provided you were running a Chevy. Now, if you were driving a Ford, well, there wasn't too many options out there. Well, Edelbrock has even the score with this ultra-cool ProFlow fuel injection unit for the small block Ford. Now check this out. The manifold comes fully dressed with injectors, fuel rail, and throttle body all installed. You have the complete computer system, you have the wiring harness, got a new fuel pump, you've even got a new distributor. They didn't leave anything to chance, and this stuff just bolts right in. But the best part about this unit is the price. This whole thing run you about $2,500 from Jegs. One of the biggest hassles of working in a shop is trying to move your projects around all the time. Well, the way that we do it here on trucks is with this cool little invention called the Go Jack from Griot's Garage. Now the Go Jack is nothing more than a couple arms with rollers on them, and they've got casters out here on the end, Then here in the center, they've got a jacking mechanism. And you just slide them around your tire. Then, just pump the jack. Look at that. Picks your vehicle right up off the ground. And now, you can really roll this thing around. Now, if you need a set of these, you've got to call Griot's Garage. Now, that's going to do it for today. We'll see you next time.
For a VHS copy of today's show, call toll-free 1-877-853-7260. Show videos are just $12.95 plus shipping and handling. Trucks is an RTM production.